Hello and welcome to our series of introductions to KWAME's Advisory Board members. Today I'm delighted to welcome Hassan Zaheer, partner at Power Technology Research, who are also one of KWAME's knowledge partners. Welcome, Hassan.
Thank you for having me.
And I know lots of people will know about you, having been in the industry for some time, but could you give us just a brief background, a summary of your work experience and history in the industry?
Okay, so I mean, as you said, I'm one of the partners at Power Technology Research looking after client relations and advisory. I've been active in the energy sector for close to a decade now and have been working for clients within the power sector around the world. So companies like Siemens, Schneider, GE, Eaton, Mitsubishi, and generally I'm conducting global market studies on grid equipment markets for them. More recently, I've been supporting my clients in their transitions towards new energy technologies. I come from a technical background, having done my bachelor's in electrical engineering and also have a master's in power engineering from Germany.
And Hassan, as I mentioned at the start of my introduction, Power Technology Research are also a knowledge partner of KWAME, so there's a strong working relationship there. How many years have you attended the show, and why do you attend? What do you get out of attending KWAME events?
I think it has been around 5 years. So I've been attending KWAME since 2017. I'm primarily attending the show in Berlin and also the online events, but my team has been attending KWAME shows around the world, including the one in US, and then also in the past we had a show in Istanbul as well. So since the last 5 years, I've been actively attending KWAME. And what I really like about KWAME is that it's one of the very few industry events which is focusing on transformers and motors industry from a component perspective. So it's a platform where you bring all the component providers together. So it's always a great opportunity to meet decision makers in this space. And then I personally have built relationships which have been lasting for a very long time since then. So that's the reason why I like to be involved with KWAME and would like to continue the relationship moving forward as well.
And that's obviously about the show, KWAME. How, as a member of the advisory board, how do you see that contributing to the success of KWAME globally?
I think so. Based on my experience within the power sector and looking at all the latest and greatest trends within the domain, I think that there is a chance that for me to contribute towards the industry through KWAME platform, because it's one of the biggest platforms within this sector, and then this provides an opportunity to have thought leadership to contribute to the industry on the topics including transformers, including energy transition overall.
And you mentioned about the topics and the trends. What do you think are the biggest challenges currently facing the industry, and also the greatest opportunities currently available?
In terms of challenges being faced by the industry, I think the challenges being faced are more on a broader level in the industry. And if I was to categorize them, I could categorize them in three broader categories. The first one, which is a major one today, would be climate change and the role that our industry needs to play in that, be it integrating more renewable energy and the challenges around that, providing the excess capacity for more electric vehicles into the network, or debating about alternative technologies, including, natural esters or SF6 alternatives in the switchgear. All of this is a responsibility and a challenge that is being faced by our industry. The second big one, in my opinion, would be the threats of cyber attacks as the grid is becoming more and more digital. So we need to see, how do we ensure a constant supply of electricity? How do we make sure, there is bad actors which are not affecting the grid? Like, do we look to solutions like blockchain, for example, as the answer? Do we look for other innovative technologies? So I think cyber attacks is the second biggest challenge in our industry. And then third one, I personally think, is access of electricity to all. There is still 1 billion people around the world who do not have access to electricity. And power grid is a technology that we have had for, decades now. So how do you work with local communities to have microgrids? How do you make sure that there is access to the technology, but not just installation of the solutions? How do you develop the local workforce to make sure the maintenance is there as well? How do you democratize electricity? I think that's the third and really big challenge as well. So overall, I think climate change, cybersecurity, and access of electricity to all other challenges that our industry needs to address as soon as possible.
And would you say that those are the hot topics that we should look to cover in more detail in the technical agenda at KWAME next year?
Absolutely. I think these are the key topics that are the overarching themes within the industry. And if I was to narrow it down specifically from a transformers or an equipment perspective, because a lot of the audience is from that perspective, I would say in line with climate change, the electric vehicle uptake and its impact on the grid infrastructure, and not just the distribution grid. How are the electric vehicles going to interact with energy storage? How are they going to interact with intelligent buildings? Like, that whole domain is something to be explored. And I think the debate between dry type versus ester-based or natural ester-based transformers versus mineral oil-based transformers is also an important one to bring up. And then also, I would say, the overall state of digitalization in transformers with various applications. There's a lot of talk about we are making the grid digital. Where do we stand today? What are the next steps that we need to do? I think also interesting topic to discuss.
And do you think that those will be the biggest transformations in the industry, the digitalization and the biggest disruptors will be linked to climate change and the impacts from that, and the fallout from COVID as well, I expect?
Absolutely. I think moving forward, there's a few things which are going to impact the industry significantly. One of them is climate change, but more importantly, awareness around climate change. There is a 4,000-page report published by United Nations, IPCC. Countries are having more and more aggressive targets to have more renewables. So all of this is going to have an impact on our industry, and these are the topics which are going to shape moving forward. The mega trends. How much renewable is being integrated? What are the challenges that the grid operators are facing in terms of renewable uptake? How would the equipment markets correspondingly be affected based on that? But then also, I think the impact of COVID are going to be a bit long-lasting as well. I think one of the long-term impacts that I see on the industry from COVID is the fact that the COVID recovery funds, a lot of them were aimed towards clean investments, right? An example is a quick update of electric vehicles in Europe despite pandemic. 2020 was one of the biggest, let's say, sales years for electric vehicles in Europe. And then also, I feel due to COVID, the need for digitalization and remote monitoring is more clear now before, and not just on the customer end as well, but then also from the supply side to the component providers to the transformer suppliers, because something as simple as negotiating contracts was previously being done in person. Now it's more and more digital as well. So I think these are going to be some of the long-lasting effects and the mega trends defining the future in the industry.
So that's great, covering the industry as you see it currently and going forward. Let's talk a little bit more about you. What's been the favourite project you've worked on throughout your career?
Okay, I think this is a difficult one to choose. But if I was to say, looking at all of my career, for me, the most rewarding has been power technology research itself. So I co-founded power technology research with my co-founders with the aim to ensure more transparency in the energy equipment market research. We felt that the power grid sector was not getting the attention and the detail it deserves, because it's a very complex system. Like, power grids are not simple things, and just forming power technology research, making sure that we're actually able to provide transparency into this really convoluted market, for me personally has been one of the most rewarding projects that I've done in my career.
I mean, I can understand why. Obviously, that's quite all-consuming for you with co-founding power technology research. But what do you do in your spare time, and how do you relax?
So outside of work, the little free time that I get, either you will find me in a sports club playing squash in the mornings. I love to get up early in the morning, be at one of the squash courts with a friend, probably having a breakfast as well, catching up before heading up to work. Or in the evenings, you would find me in one of the many nice restaurants in Munich, enjoying the time with my family or friends, because I'm a big foodie.
Aren't we all? Well, Hassan, it's been such a pleasure to talk to you, and we're really looking forward to working with you, both as a member of the advisory board and with Power Technology Research as one of our knowledge partners, and look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Likewise, looking forward to contribute towards the industry through KWAME platform.